Guys, this is Amanda. This is part two of the dating game: the church, women, and God, the ultimate matchmaker. In part one, we started going over some bullet points about what to look for, ladies, in a man, what red flags to notice right away, to go by the leading of the Lord, when you should walk away and move on. And so we went through these bullet points and we finished at number 8, which was dysfunction. We're going to do number 9 now, which is missionary dating. What is missionary dating? Well, I'll just tell you something. Oh, ladies, don't. Just don't. Okay? But what is it? Well, fortunately, in today's age, in many cases, it is very difficult to tell the difference between a man who claims to be a Christian and someone who is not serving the Lord, because there are a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing now that have unfortunately gotten into the church. Okay? So, what is this missionary dating that we speak of? In many cases, okay, you may be dating someone who claims to be a Christian, but you spiritually, ladies, are way ahead of him and you are more grounded than him. And that is also being unequally yoked in a different way. And I'll tell you why. Because if that man is truly, truly not totally willing to spiritually learn and glean from God's word and the example of other well-grounded men and catch up, then it's easier for you to part ways with him. Why is it easier for you to part ways with him? Because you want someone who is ready, like we were talking about before, who is completely ready, not someone who is still feeling it out, okay? Missionary dating. Okay. I do not care how nice of a person this gentleman is, okay? Ladies, if Jesus is not the Lord of his life, then you have no business being with him. And do not date someone, and this is where the definition of missionary dating, do not date someone thinking you are going to witness to them about Jesus, okay, and change them into a man of God so the two of you can ride off into the sunset together, because more than likely that is not going to happen, and you shouldn't be dating someone for that reason. He will drag you down quicker than you will bring him up. 99% of the time. And that process may take years upon years of heartache and questioning and issues. And do you really want to endure that? No. No. You want a man that the Lord has worked on and molded and made a new creation in Christ. That's what you want. Number 10, make sure you know who you are in the Lord, ladies. Make sure you know who you are in the Lord, what the Lord has for you, what he's called you to do. Love yourself, knowing you are the daughters of the King of Kings. You are so very precious to the Lord. You are, ladies. You really are. And you know what? Let God pick your mate. Like I said, I'm going to keep saying this. He is the best matchmaker that there ever was and that there ever will be. He knows your profile, your dating profile, inside and out. He knows what you want and what you need, what you like and what you don't like. Okay? Match.com ain't got nothing on him. Let me tell you. And he will give you someone that will fit your life, that will enhance your life, not drain it. You want somebody that enhances you and builds you up, not drains you and makes you want to constantly shrink into a corner, okay? Because ultimately that marriage, God is putting the two of you together for his glory and for his plans and purposes, okay? But you just have to be patient enough, ladies, to work with the Lord on this, okay? Because sometimes it's a process. It really is. It's a process of getting you ready. It's a process of getting him ready. I'm going to suggest something to you ladies out there that are not married, that are single and praying and want a spouse. Start praying for your future husband. Start praying for him. You may not know him yet. Start praying for him, because what you're doing is you're opening up the doors for God to continue to work on him so he can be brought into your life. That's very important, okay? Because, like I said, there's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing in this world, okay? That the enemy has sent into the church. And yes, ladies, the gift of discerning spirits, this is something we should all be asking the Lord for. The ability to discern spirits. That's going to be one of the single most important gifts that we need as we're walking through these end times right now, okay? We need the Lord to cultivate us and to cultivate that in us, because the enemy will just as easily put a too good to be true Prince Charming in your path, meant to try and derail you. And by the time you find out, it's most of the time too late, okay? When you meet someone, ask the Lord immediately whether you should even be bothering with this person, to open the doors that need to be open and to close the doors that need to be closed, okay? And if that door is closed, ladies, God has something so much better in store, because he sees the end from the beginning and the beginning from the end. He's like 1,000+ steps ahead of us in this, okay? So if he's closing the door, it's for good reason. And you may not find out that reason right away, but you will find out that reason. I promise you, at some point you will. 11, compatibility and compromise. Biggie. Yes, opposites attract. This is true. However, you need to be compatible with this person, so it's not constantly like Clash of the Titans, okay? And that he's sentient enough that he's willing to compromise. Okay, this is big, because in marriage, you have to compromise. Okay, this is not a dictatorship you're going into, ladies. There needs to be compromise between the two of you. And his ego needs to be in check enough to know that he needs to compromise with you on some things so that marriage can be successful. Okay, number 12. Okay. Let's briefly, we're going to touch on this, which is a very prevalent subject today, men who have children from other relationships. Because in this day and age, it's a reality, okay? I want you to remember something, ladies. If you're considering getting involved with a man that has children from another relationship, okay? The reason for you dating or marrying this person is the death of another relationship. Another relationship had to die and a family be broken up to set the foundation for this relationship you're going into with him. And you have to be very, very aware of this fact, okay? The destructive nature of dysfunction is the reason why this person is now single. And you are perhaps meeting them. This is the reason why, okay? Also, if they have a meddling ex, ladies, please listen to me. If this man has a meddling ex who he has not set major boundaries with, who he doesn't know how to deal with, your life will be made miserable. I can promise you. It will be sent into travail. You do not want to be the victim of this man's ex using the children as a weapon and as a tool of manipulation to hurt you, to try to control him, to try to meddle in the marriage. No, 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 okay? Because it'll turn your whole life upside down, I promise you. God's plans for you are way too precious to get involved in a circus like that, okay? Now, if the man and his ex are on good terms, and she is nice and understanding and welcoming, that if all parties are considerate of each other, yes, something like that could work if God is placed in the middle of it, okay? Because you're already dealing with a fractured family and a new relationship forming from a fractured family, okay? However, you must constantly be aware not to overstep your bounds as a stepmother, and that's another tightrope, ladies, that you just may not want to bother with. So these are all things you have to heavily weigh and consider. 14. Point 14. And I think we're getting close. Yep, this is one of the last points. Widowhood. Okay, this is another reason a man might have children from a previous relationship. Meeting a man who is a widow, perhaps that has children, you have to be very, very careful with this, ladies, because this type of man is not, he may just be looking for a mommy for his child or children and a maid. Many times, if the man is not grieved properly and been healed, you will be competing with the ghost of marriage past, okay? And you will always be compared to the deceased spouse. always. And you will have to compete with the memory of her. And do not take this lightly, ladies. Do not, for it will cause major heartache in your life. When you're in the position of wife, you're not meant to compete with any other woman. It's not meant that way. It's God, spouse, then everything else. And a lot of times, if this man does not grieve properly, you're in for a world of heartache. And a lot of times, these men are just looking for a mommy and a maid. Okay? And they really don't have the capacity to love you the way you need to be loved, because their heart has been seared, literally, and it's got now a wall over it from this death. And breaking through that wall could be something incredibly, incredibly difficult. You know, you also have to consider the role of a stepmother, because this child, if they were old enough to remember their mother's passing, is going to want to talk about their mother and remember their mother. And you have to make sure you're ready for that, because it's not easy, okay? You're going to have to weigh heavily whether emotionally you can handle these things, because it's hard. A family was broken and fractured, and there was a death, okay? And this is the only reason now you're meeting this person, because these destructive, dysfunctional, sad things happened. And that's the foundation for you meeting this new person. And so you have to really weigh this heavily and pray about this and see what the Lord wants for you, because he may not want you to get involved with something like this at all. Okay? This is why, ladies, in this world, in this day and age, seek the Lord. Let him pick your mate. Be okay with him closing the doors on men that he can foresee major problems with in your life. Okay? And pastor matchmaking. I'm going to talk about this for a second. What's pastor matchmaking? Because if the pastors in your church happen to want to nudge you in a direction of a particular suitor, please make sure, ladies, you are aware of the pastor's relationship with that suitor and his family. Because if the pastors are heavily influenced by this family in particular, which truly, if they are pastors after God's own heart, that should not be going on. But if this is the case, they may not have your best interests at heart. They may be just looking to help that family, and you're collateral damage. So you have to be fully aware of this when a pastor begins to do this, okay? And you really must proceed with caution and pray about it and ask the Lord for wisdom. Like Jesus said, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. Ladies, make sure you tell the Lord what you want in a man. Be open with him. Talk with him how you feel about marriage, about the qualities you think you want and need. The Lord wants to hear from you. He wants to be in open communication with you. Because if you're not vocal, ladies, and you're looking for someone tall, dark, and handsome, well, you may just get someone short, pale, and bald. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just trying to make a point that you need to make sure in detail you speak forth to the Lord what you want and need, so the Father's lines of communication are open with you, and the Lord can lead you in the direction of his will for your life and lead you to the man, ladies, that he has chosen for you to marry. So keep these things in mind, ladies. Be vigilant about this. Listen to the leading of the Lord. Make sure he is first in your life so that he can protect you from potential problems that he sees coming way before you do. Okay, guys? So I hope you've enjoyed this dating game discussion about women, marriage, and God being the ultimate matchmaker. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful day. Keep the faith.